Hi everyone, so here we are on our next lecture series, which is your lecture number 22 on the land revenue settlements or the systems started by the British in India. So you already know that the three major kind of land revenue settlements is what they were introducing here and they had introduced here. But the background of which we have already covered in the previous lectures when we were discussing about the different governor generals. So I have taken these snapshots from your book Spectrum because I thought that they have given this section like really great and important pointers are here, so we'll use it directly here. So they have talked about the revenue policies. Now first system they have discussed is about the Hastings system, जो हमने already करा हुआ है, ठीक है. So nothing to be discussed in detail. We have talked about, if you remember, about the system जहाँ पर farming system या जिसको इजारेदारी system भी बोलते हैं, wherein they were giving the power to the collect land revenue to the contractors or the farmers, and they were chosen on the basis of the highest bids. So the highest bidder, ठीक है, जो ऑक्शन हो रहा होगा उसमें जो हाईएस्ट बिडर होगा, दैट पर्सन वुड गेट द पावर टू कलेक्ट लैंड रेवेन्यू. दिस वॉज द सिस्टम स्टार्टेड बाय वॉरेन हेस्टिंग्स. इनिशियली इट वॉज डन फॉर 5 years and then it was made annual. I hope you remember this. ठीक है, this we have done. And we have also seen that yes, because the system was not about improving the situation of the farmers, or it was not about improving productivity, it just resulted in extortion and oppression in the whole collection of revenue. What was happening? The contractors were merely the revenue farmers. Okay? The whole idea was just to get the revenue, extracting the revenue. So they were just interested in their profit. They were not at all worrying about the care for the welfare of the peasants. Even if you talk about the large amounts which was promised by the contractors, they just exceeded the production capacity. So जितना capacity उस land से हो सकता था, उससे कहीं ज़्यादा amount जो है that they were promising. So all of these was creating a problem which resulted in the oppression of the masses, or let's say the peasantry here for that matter. Definitely country was going into that impoverishment also. Agriculture was diminishing because the kind of exploitation that they were carrying out here, it was not resulting in anything positive for the people and positive for the land and positive for the masses also. Then what happened? Came a new system, ठीक है, जो हमें यहाँ से करना शुरू करना है, which is a permanent settlement. The background of which again I have given you when I was discussing about Lord Cornwallis as a Governor General. Let's try to recall what we have done first, and then we'll see the details of this kind of a settlement that was happening. Now what happened? So there was a member of the Warren Hastings Council, Philip Frankis, who recommended that there should be a permanent settlement in the land revenue. So it shouldn't be like कि आप 5 साल या 10 साल या 2 years या 5 years या whatever years के लिए कर रहे हो, it should be a permanent settlement. This was actually recommended by this person. But then Lord Cornwallis, when he was sent as a Governor General, and he was given the instructions that you work on increasing the land revenue settlements and also make it permanent. So then he made up a committee. ठीक है, he himself was a member of the committee. The other people like John Shore, James Grant also were members of the committee, and they started to examine the issue of land settlement, that how the things were happening. He did favor that we should give the right of ownership, जो कि पहले भी डिस्कस हुआ था, to whom? To the zamindars, because he believed in the idea. He had actually hoped that if we give the ownership right to the zamindars, they will work harder to improve the land as the English landlords were doing. Because in Britain he was also a member of the landed aristocracy, which means belonging to that privileged class who was owning so much of land. So he used to see in England that the English landlords were taking so much care of the land, and they were working to improve the land so that they can get more and more return from that land. So he thought that even the zamindars would do the same here. This is what he imagined. Okay. Also then he noticed that the number of the cultivators were too large. Many people were cultivators, they were farmers, they were cultivating. So it was very difficult for the British East India Company to go to each cultivator and collect the revenue from them. So they thought that let's have an intermediary in between. So it would be very simpler if we use this intermediary to collect the revenue from the zamindars, because the zamindars were smaller in number as compared to the cultivators who were very large in number. So of course it was easier for them to have this revenue directly collected from the zamindars who were smaller in number. So this is what he thought and started to go ahead with the system. So every piece of land in the area जहाँ पर permanent settlement was promulgated, it became a part of some one zamindari or the other, means some or the other person got hold over that landed area, and from there they had to collect the revenue. It was extended to how much of area? So about 19% of the British territory. So initially it was introduced in Bengal and Bihar region, of course eastern side mein. Then it was extended to the nearby regions like Odisha, then Banaras and northern Madras region also. Let's now understand about what were the features of this zamindari. Achha, now this is called a zamindari system also, permanent settlement also. Permanent you will understand right now, and zamindari I hope you understand, because zamindars were made the owners of the land. Okay. So सबसे पहले the feature will be that the zamindars were given the proprietary rights over their land. They were made the owners. Therefore it is also called a zamindari system. Then initially क्या हुआ 1719 में a 10-year settlement was made with the zamindars, but 3 ही साल में, in 3 years only, in 1793 they made this a permanent settlement. This point also we have covered earlier. Now they also said that a fixed tax, ठीक है, will be put on the land and the zamindar will have to pay that. So it was permanent in two sense. One, they were not revising it in near future. Secondly, they fixed the amount also. The fixed tax was also done, and the zamindar would have to collect that from the cultivators, okay, and submit to the East India Company. Now the cultivators, who otherwise should have been the owners, but because the zamindars were made the owners, so these cultivators were only the tenants now. Tenants मतलब जो सिर्फ वहाँ पर काम कर रहे होते थे, ठीक है. Like they were also known as riots or riots. These all are the terms used for the cultivators or the farmers who just became the tenant, like जो rent पे जिस टाइप से काम करते हैं वैसा लग रहा था. Also, the share that was asked or that was fixed was that the zamindar would keep 1/10 or 1/11 of the revenue. So if let's say the zamindar was keeping 1/11 of the revenue, तो जो बाकी 10/11 हो जाएगा of the revenue, that would go to the East India Company. The zamindar, because he was made the owner of the land, he also got certain rights. What kind of right? The zamindar could sell the land also, mortgage the land, udhari par de dena, nilami kar dena, transfer kar dena, anything that could be done by the zamindar. However, they had to be very particular about the sunset clause that they had introduced in 1794. What was the sunset clause? Clause is like a condition or a provision for the agreement. So they said that whatever due tax you have, if you do not pay it by sunset of a certain date, they would fix the date and they would say that if you do not pay it by the sunset of that particular date, your zamindari, which means your ownership right over that land, would be taken over by the government. और उस land को हम auction कर देंगे, नीलामी कर देंगे, and then the rights would be transferred to the new owner. Whosoever will buy will get the rights to collect revenue. Then there were several regulations made in different point of time. ठीक है, उसके detail हमें नहीं करनी है, just know about the different regulations, which also empowered the zamindar that you can seize the tenant's property. If they are not giving you the rent, you take their property, you seize their property. ठीक है, and to seize their property, you do not even need the permission of any court of law. अगर वो आपको नहीं पे कर रहे हैं, आप वहाँ से सीधे उनकी ज़मीन को कब्ज़े में ले लीजिए, अपने कब्ज़े में ले लीजिए. But then these were the features of the permanent settlement. What about the shortcomings of the settlement? One, of course, major thing was that very high rate of revenue was fixed. तो इसकी वजह से ज़मींदारीज या जो ज़मींदार्स थे, they were having many problem in collecting the revenue, because not every time, because see, the date was also fixed, rate was also fixed, everything was fixed. Now if there would be the issues like flood, drought or any other calamity, they would not get the same kind of rate, no, they would not get the same kind of rent, and that was leaving the zamindars with a problem. So it resulted, and they had said that if you do not pay it by time, your thing will be auctioned and sold to the other person. So of course it resulted in takeover, and there was sale of many zamindaris, okay, in the further years. Then absentee landlordism started to happen. Absentee landlordism means who would be the landlord? The person would not be present on the land. Why? Because then they had intermediaries in between. They started to have merchants, some other officials who were buying these lands. So now the idea was not only about the cultivator or the zamindar only, there were intermediaries also in between who were, taking charge of that land, because the zamindars could not pay the rent on the time. Now the high rates was also forcing these zamindars to divide their state means the whole land area, you can say, into smaller factions or groupings, ताकि वो अपना अपना बांट सके आसानी से, which was called as पत्नी तालुक. और फिर they were renting those smaller lots of land permanently to the holders of these land. They were called as patnidar, and they were promising that you take this land and you pay us fixed rent. तो इससे क्या होने लगा, प्रोसेस ऑफ सब इन्फ्यूडेशन मतलब लार्जर लैंड गेटिंग डिवाइडेड इनटू स्मॉलर लैंड, एंड देन यू आर मेकिंग डिफरेंट पीपल एज ओनर और लेट्स से द होल्डर ऑफ दीज लैंड्स. तो ये सब डिवाइड होने लगा, ठीक है, जैसे पहले आपका फ्यूडल सिस्टम में होता था. सो काइंड ऑफ दैट ओनली इट स्टार्टेड टू गेट डिवाइडेड. Also under this settlement, the zamindars were required to issue the written agreements, which are called as pattas. Now see, these terminologies they can ask you in the paper. So they were required कि आप written agreement जो है वो issue करो हर cultivator को, and you will have to specify in that written agreement that whatever rent you had asked them to pay. They were asked to do this, but in reality no such agreement was made. So because no such agreement was made, there was no clear cut idea, or there was no clear cut availability of what rent was to be paid by them. So they were extracting and exploiting the peasants like anything. They just came there or they stayed there at the mercy of the zamindars. They were just getting exploited and harassed for more rent. ठीक है, the peasantry was reduced to serfdom now. काम उनका पेजेंट्री का होना था, बट एक्सप्लॉयटेशन की वजह से जैसे पहले सर्व्स की कंडीशन होती थी ये इनके साथ होने लग गई. द जमींदार्स ऑल्सो डिड नथिंग टू इम्प्रूव द लैंड एट इज वॉट एक्सपेक्टेड बाय द गवर्नर जनरल. ऐसा इन्होंने कुछ भी नहीं करा. द ओनली फोकस दैट दे हैड वॉज ऑन द एक्सट्रैक्शन ऑफ द रेंट. अगर गवर्नमेंट के साइड से देखें तो नाउ दे कुड नॉट इवन इंक्रीज द टैक्स बिकॉज दे हैड ऑलरेडी मेड इट परमानेंट. So even they were binded, because there could be times when there would be, let's say, very flourishing of the production. So if the production was flourished, the zamindars can extract a maximum revenue from the peasant, but he had to pay the fixed amount only to the East India Company. So even if, let's say, the cultivators were giving so much to the zamindar, it was not reaching to the company because they could not increase the tax. It was made a permanent system. So this was also a challenge coming from the permanent settlement. So these are the ideas about the permanent settlement. Next kind of settlement that was introduced was the Ryotwari. Ryot or Rayat, we have just seen, it means your farmers or the cultivators. This is a term used for the farmers or the cultivators. So what happened here? Thomas Munro and Captain Alexander Reed, who was sent in 1792 to administer the recently acquired Baramal region. ठीक है, मद्रास प्रेसिडेंसी का एक रीजन था, वहाँ पे इन दोनों को भेजा गया that you go and administer the system there. So they saw the system and they thought that it is better to devise a system of collecting the rent not from any zamindar or some intermediary but directly from the villagers. ठीक है, fixing the amount that each village had to pay. Then what happened? So when this Munro became the governor for that Madras presidency, he introduced this system which was called as now the Ryotwari system. So here they decided कि हम villages से collect करेंगे and directly from the ryots, directly from the cultivators जो है we will collect and we will not have a intermediary in between. What was the most important reason? Of course, because from the company's point of view, it brought in a larger revenue. क्योंकि they could have asked for more revenue, there was no permanent system being introduced there, ठीक है, and there was no intermediaries also. So whatever was extracted from the cultivator would directly go to the British government. There was no person in between जिसको आपको थोड़ा भी share देना है. And then he reduced the tax to 1/3 of the gross produce, ठीक है, and he started to extend this Ryotwari system to different areas of presidency. Of course, there were certain areas which were already under the permanent settlement, so those areas were not touched, but the other areas were started to be influenced by this kind of a system. But unfortunately, this 1/3 जो produce की बात करते हैं, that was also too high. That was nearly equal to the economic rental, ठीक है, जितना इनको पे करना होता था. और स्टेट वांटेड दिस मनी एट एनी कॉस्ट रिगार्डलेस ऑफ व्हाट द एक्चुअल यील्ड वाज हैविंग, या फिर कितना प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है. दे वर नॉट कंसर्न्ड अबाउट इट, और दे वर नॉट कंसर्न्ड अबाउट व्हाट प्राइस वाज प्रिवेलिंग इन द मार्केट और व्हाट सिस्टम वाज एग्जिस्टिंग. दे हैड नो कंसर्न अबाउट इट. द ओनली थिंग वाज दे वर वेरी श्योर कि हमको कितना पैसा चाहिए एंड यू जस्ट गिव इट टू अस. So about 30 years, this system continued, and the peasants of course went into very bad situation, in a very poverty situation. It was extended to many of the districts which were not even surveyed earlier. ठीक है, तो now that survey was not done properly, so there was no clear picture available with us that how much of land the peasant was cultivating, how much of it was producing. So tax को randomly fix कर दिया गया. Let's say somebody is having smaller piece of land, तो वहाँ से of course कम tax आना चाहिए, and somebody is having larger possession of land, वहाँ से ज़्यादा tax आना चाहिए. But because land survey was not only done, there was no clear cut picture of how the things were being manipulated, how the things were just put, how the taxes were just asked them to be submitted arbitrarily. So there was a problem with this. So this was happening often on the basis of what the Ryot had paid in earlier years. Whatever they were paying in earlier years, based on that, taxation was arbitrarily fixed. There was no clear cut picture of the cultivation and everything. And this was this arbitrarily thing, and basing it on the earlier years payment was known as a putkut system. Tax was definitely very high, and at times even the ryots were not having the capacity to pay for that particular tax, but they had to, they were bound, they had no choice. So they were coerced, they were tortured to submit that revenue. Many ryots were even forced into the clutch of the money lenders. Then a commission report came, ठीक है, क्योंकि इन लोगों को टॉर्चर किया जाता था. So 1855 में the Madras Torture Commission report, they actually revealed about these ideas that yes, there was practice of coercion, bribery and corruption. All of these things was being used by the officials, and they were doing this to collect more and more revenue. तो यहाँ से इन्होंने डिसाइड करा that a scientific survey of the land and a fresh assessment of the revenue was really needed. When this real survey happened and there was no arbitrary tax, of course that resulted in decline in the actual burden of the tax also. Then it was said that the revenue rate would be now half of the net value of the produce. जितना टोटल आ रहा है उसका हाफ जो है वहाँ से हमको रेवेन्यू चाहिए होगा, and the settlement would be made for 30 years. Now this reformed system was introduced in 1864. अब चूँकि बेटर होगी सिचुएशन, सर्वे होने लगा, असेसमेंट होने लगा, सो द सिचुएशन गॉट बेटर, एंड ऑफ कोर्स इट लेड टू एग्रीकल्चरल प्रॉस्पेरिटी, एंड इवन द एग्रीकल्चर स्टार्टेड टू एक्सटेंड इन द coming years. There were situations of famine which interrupted the whole system, but still overall it was becoming better in the later phase. Bombay presidency में ही started this with Gujarat, but then they started to collect directly from the peasants also, जैसा मैंने आपको बोला, in the coming years. So when they started to conquer the territory of the Peshwa, then this whole system on the Madras pattern was also introduced in the Bombay region. वहाँ पे अलग लोगों के अंडर में हुआ, Elphinstone के अंडर में हुआ, but still they extended it to the different areas. State demand को इन्होंने fixed कर दिया at 55% of the net produce. But the problem was कि surveys जो हैं वो faulty हो रहे थे उस region में, western region में, estimates जो है वो गलत आ रहे थे, तो इट लेड टू ओवर असेसमेंट, अगेन हैरेसमेंट जो है वो होने लगा उस रीजन में ऑफ द पेजेंट्स. देन फर्दर सम अदर पीपल केम हु ट्राई टू इम्प्रूव द सिस्टम. तो इट कवर्ड द मोस्ट ऑफ द डेक्कन रीजन, बिकॉज सदर्न एंड वेस्टर्न रीजन को ही मिला करके दे वर इंट्रोड्यूसिंग दिस काइंड ऑफ अ सिस्टम देयर. ईच फील्ड वॉज टू बी असेस्ड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द सॉइल ऑफ, क्योंकि कितना प्रोडक्शन होगा दैट डिपेंडेंट ऑन द सॉइल एंड द लोकेशन ऑल्सो. सो समहाउ लैंड रेवेन्यू जो है वो रिड्यूस हुआ था. लैंड जिसको अभी तक डी वैल्यू कर दिया गया था उसको अब एक वैल्यू में डाल दिया गया. दिस सिस्टम वॉज देन एक्सटेंडेड टू द अदर रीजन्स लाइक बेरार, ईस्ट बंगाल, आसाम का पार्ट्स एंड कूर्ग ऑल्सो. सो धीरे धीरे उसको ईस्टर्न साइड की तरफ भी एक्सटेंड किया गया. यू ऑल्सो हैव टू नाउ notice the features very quickly. This was all the briefing of that. Firstly, ownership or occupancy rights now did not lie with any intermediary or a zamindar but directly with the ryot. ठीक है, and there was no limit on the extent of land that they could own. तो वो अपने हिसाब से अपने लैंड को ट्रांसफ़र, सेल एक्सेट्रा कर सकते थे. They had to pay the tax directly to the company. That was a clear cut procedure. रेवेन्यू जो पे उनको करना होता था अबाउट 45 to 55% जो है एस्टिमेशन वही किया जाता था प्रोडक्शन से, एंड दे हैड टू पे दैट डायरेक्टली टू द कंपनी. एग्जैक्ट रेवेन्यू वॉज नॉट फिक्स्ड। तो उससे क्या हो रहा था, जब भी प्रोडक्शन हायर होगा उसको बढ़ा सकते थे वो। सेटलमेंट परमानेंट तो था ही नहीं, ठीक है, उसको आराम से ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम दे कुड हैव रिवाइज्ड इट, चेंज्ड इट। In theory, the Ryot were allowed to cultivate the land of their choice, but in practice, in reality, of course, this is what happened, that they were forced to cultivate the land, even if they did not want to do so. Barren land under the government control was allowed to be cultivated, even if land was barren, खाली था, बंजर था, तो भी कहा गया कि आप cultivate कर सकते हो, and the revenue generated will go to the government in a sharing mode. लैंड कुड बी ऑल्सो कॉन्फिस्केटेड अगर रेवेन्यू नहीं पे किया जाएगा. वट वॉज द शॉर्ट कमिंग ऑफ द रियोतवारी सिस्टम? ओवर असेसमेंट ऑफ द रेवेन्यू ऑफकोर्स वॉज अ मेजर प्रॉब्लम बिकॉज देयर वॉज नो प्रॉपर सर्वे डन. तो लैंड रेवेन्यू जो फिक्स्ड था वो एट टाइम्स इट वॉज मोर दैन द लैंड्स कैपेसिटी. द मेथड ऑफ कलेक्शन वॉज ऑल्सो इनफ्लेक्सिबल क्योंकि टॉर्चर करते थे, एक्सट्रैक्ट करते थे. करप्शन ऑफ द ऑफिसर्स वॉज अ प्रॉब्लम, ब्राइबिंग वॉज अ प्रॉब्लम. Even the non-cultivating landlords जो है they could get registered as the owners of particular holding. ठीक है, वो ये कर सकते थे. Actual cultivator को reduce किया गया to become their tenants, servants or even the bonded laborers. ऐसी situation आ गई. The high tax and the harassment जो है उसके वजह से the land value was also not kept at a proper value, so it was devalued because most of the people did not want to buy it because they will have to then pay the rent or let's say about the revenue from that land only. So most of them did not even want to buy it. Let's now see the another kind of a system which is a Mahalwari system. So the adoption happened in parts of northern India, started in 1819 by this person Holt Mackenzie, who was a secretary to the Board of Commissioners. Now he recommended this kind of a system. और धीरे धीरे जो है वो उसको फिर फॉर्मल बनाया गया by the Regulation 7 of 1922. ठीक है, क्योंकि क्या हो रहा था, there was complex method of the survey, how to survey the land etc. Land revenue demand was very high, the methods of extraction were harsh. ठीक है, because of all of that the existing schemes were just leading to a breakdown situation got very worsened when agriculture depression also happened. So arrears होने लगे, as in accumulation of the unpaid rent started to happen. So land जो है वो uncultivated रहने लगा, बहुत कम बायर्स जो हैं वो बचे थे लैंड के. सो देयर वर मैनी प्रॉब्लम्स दैट वाज एग्जिस्टिंग देयर. सो इन 1833 विलियम बेंटिक व्हेन ही वाज द गवर्नर जनरल, दिस रेगुलेशन सिंप्लीफाइड द प्रोसीजर ऑफ एस्टिमेटिंग द प्रोड्यूस. Then some other person, Mortingsbird, he is regarded as the father of land settlement in the northern India. He started to supervise the new scheme, the whole scheme, जहाँ पे ये बात की गई that we will survey a tract of land. Let's say if this is a piece of land, we'll survey, we will show the field boundaries of the cultivate. Let's say in this particular land, it's not important that the whole piece of land will be cultivated. So there will be some fallow land, some cultivated land. So we will clearly have the boundaries in the survey. स्टेट शेयर को फिक्स किया गया है 66% एंड सेटलमेंट को 30 ईयर्स के लिए कंटिन्यू किया जाएगा, ऐसा बोला गया. ऑफकोर्स दिस रेट वॉज ऑल्सो टू हाई. द रेट वॉज हाई इन ऑल अक्रॉस द डिफरेंट सेटलमेंट्स. ठीक है, सो लॉर्ड डलहौजी इशूड फ्रेश डायरेक्शंस कि अब 1855 में स्टेट डिमांड वॉज नाउ लिमिटेड टू 50% ऑफ द रेंटल वैल्यू ओनली. दिस वॉज काइंड टू बी अ मॉडिफाइड जमींदारी सिस्टम बिकॉज हियर वी डिड हैव द इंटरमीडियरी लाइक द विलेज हेडमैन who would be a link between the cultivator and the government. लेकिन village headman would only help in the collection of revenue, but he will not have the rights of the zamindar, like ownership right and all of that. It will not be there. So there were certain versions, different versions. ठीक है, अब जैसे नॉर्थ वेस्टर्न प्रोविंस में उसके नाम अलग रखा गया, मुआज़्ज़वा रखा गया. सेंट्रल प्रोविंस में मलगुजारी रखा गया. डिफरेंट नेम्स वर देयर. तो यहाँ पे काइंड ऑफ क्या हो रहा था, डुअल सिस्टम, जहाँ पे होल कम्युनिटी, महल इज़ एक्चुअली जैसे यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है, सो विल टॉक ऑन दैट. इट इज़ अ पार्ट ऑफ विलेज और अ ग्रुप ऑफ विलेज इफ़ नीडेड. सो कम्युनिटी के साथ भी एंड एट टाइम्स विद द इंडिविजुअल लैंडलॉर्ड्स ऑल्सो इट वॉज हैपनिंग. सो महल इज़ एक्चुअली द वर्ड विच डिनोट्स अ हाउस और लेट्स से एक्सटेंशन ऑफ द स्टेट. मतलब जो लैंडेड स्टेट है, लैंडेड रीजन है, उसके लिए ये टर्म यूज़ किया गया. एंड दिस नाउ बिकेम द बेसिस ऑफ रेवेन्यू असेसमेंट that will collect it from here. So in the Mahalwari system, a mahal could be a village also, and if there are smaller village, it could be a group of village also, and they would have the tax collection from that group. Revenue was determined on the basis of the produce of the mahal. So in that region, whatever in that area would be able to produce, based on that they would decide the revenue. Village community was considered the owner of the land. ठीक है, so who would be the owner? Not a zamindar but the whole community. And the individual ownership rights over their lands of course will lie with the cultivator. हर individual farmer को अपना share देना होगा. Who would be having the responsibility of the collection? ठीक है, कंपनी के पास जो है वो विलेज हेडमैन है, जिसको लंबरदार भी बोला जाता था, who he would give. स्टेट रेवेन्यू शेयर को 66% कर दिया गया, लेटर 50% कर दिया गया. Concept of average rents for different soil classes, because of course the production will vary with the soil, so accordingly they fix the average rent also for that particular kind of a soil. Land revenue was revised periodically because it was not a permanent settlement. What about the shortcomings of the system? It required the government officials to record all the rights firstly. तो cultivators के, ज़मींदार के, बाकी सबके, they had to record the rights and they had to fix the tax which would be coming or would be made payable on that every piece of the land. So practically it was getting very difficult or kind of impossible to be implemented. Then calculations, अगर हम बात करें, the officials made were often quite inaccurate. तो ये भी guess work पे बना हुआ रहता था, and the collectors manipulated them to increase the revenue due to government. Corruption का scope तो था ही. It hardly favored the village communities, क्योंकि in any case the village community would never be having any good thing about it, and they were anyways facing this exorbitant tax assessment. मतलब काफ़ी high उन पर tax लगाया जाता था, and they were coerced to, forced to pay that. Then if they were unable to pay, then of course उनके जो land हैं वो सब वहाँ उनसे ले लिए जाते थे, and they were just turned into the tenants. They did not remain only as a cultivator, उनको tenants, renter की तरह बना दिया. So the settlement system led to impoverishment and large scale dispossession of the communities, these cultivating communities. जाहिर सी बात है, कंपनी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से मोर वॉज स्पेंड फॉर द कलेक्शन का प्रोसेस इतना you would say was very complex that it led more money in the process of collection than the revenue that was actually collected. So that was also a challenge for this kind of a system. Now we have to understand about the overall impact of the British land revenue system of all of these, like 3 different के तो हमने कर ही लिए हैं ना, सबके challenges and features जो हैं, features and shortcomings separately we have done, but overall if you have to see, so I'll not use it from the book, I have written it separately for you so that it help you to revise very quickly and make the notes out of it. So let's say the economic impact of the various land revenue settlements. First is the loss of land for the landholders, very very clearly. If they are not able to pay, loss of land will happen. Then for the zamindars and the cultivators, heavy taxation was the case. Heavy and oppressive land revenue assessment, if they were doing, that was also very oppressive. Debt trap में फंस जाते थे. What is debt trap? As in, if they are not able to pay the rent on time, then they will borrow it from the money lenders. That अभी के लिए just give it to me, I have to pay to the company. But because they were not having that much of production, they had to pay back to the money lenders also. But they were not getting that much of money. So that trap of the debt is udhar, ठीक है, continued to happen. And money lenders could easily manipulate them. They saw that they were getting an opportunity to increase the interest rate, so they were misusing it. Then coercion, force was there, violence, abuse was there to extract the revenue. Then stagnation and deterioration of agriculture happened. Of course, government was not taking any effort to improve agriculture. Even the zamindars or any intermediary was not taking any effort to improve the agriculture. Land auctions used to happen by the government. Then later phase में, because land was losing its significance, so it lost its value also. When the land would lost or lose its value, no one was willing or wanting to buy the land. So because new owner would now have the problem na to pay the heavy land revenue from that piece of land. So land was just losing its value. Otherwise, it is such a valuable commodity. And the rural underdevelopment of course happened, and the backwardness happened. Now all of these factors also became a major cause for the revolt of 1857. ये जब करेंगे तो ये सारी चीज़ें आपको ध्यान में इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज़ में रखनी चाहिए. So in this lecture we have given the detailed description of the different land revenue settlements, but there were many other economic impacts of their different economic policies also, which we'll see in the coming video. So hope you guys will enjoy the session. Thank you so much. Take care till then. Bye bye.